Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my channel if you are new. Today's video is my son's first birthday fiesta video, and I'm so excited to bring this to you. If you are new to my channel, I do have a now 1-year-old baby boy named Sebastian. His birthday was August 19th. We just had a big fiesta just for him, and I'm so over the moon. I cannot believe he is 1. Moving on though, before I start crying, I am just so beyond pleased with how the party turned out. All of the late nights and hard work that went into this really paid off. I really do think that my guests and Brandon and even the baby had a great time, and I just know that this will be a party that we talk about for a long time. So let's just go ahead and get started. You may remember this chalkboard sign from when I drew it in a previous vlog, and I'm not really quite sure what happened to the display here by the time I got around to filming it, but it did sit on top of my bar cart, and it was a cute touch. It welcomed guests into the party, and underneath it sat the kids' party favor bags that they used later on in the party. One of the main things that I decided to do when I first started planning this party was to not go overboard with decorating. I knew that I didn't want to spend a lot of time or money decorating the entire house. We did not end up having it at our house, and so I just knew I wanted to focus mainly on having a huge head table that displayed his cake, had a pretty background, and that's where I put most of my effort, and I'm so glad that I did it this way because it turned out beautifully. So the main cake table sat in front of a huge multicolored wall full of fringe cut crepe paper. You may remember me cutting it in a previous video, and I spent a lot of time with my cousin and my sister cutting out each of these different strips to make this wall come to life, and I think it turned out beautifully. I will link below where I got the paper and what size that I bought, so make sure you check down there if you are looking for something similar. And then in front of that, we just put 3 MYLAR balloons that I got from Party City that spell out uno, which obviously means 1 in Spanish. I wanted the main focus to be the cake, but to be surrounded by a lot of really fun things. I did bake this cake myself. I also showed that in a previous video. The cake topper was also made by me, and it was just construction paper. I cut cactuses and put on 2 skewers. Underneath everything on this table is a beautiful table runner that was actually part of a larger blanket. So throughout the party, you may notice the runner in different places, and it was actually, like I said, a huge blanket that I cut into 4 strips to make as table runners everywhere else. It's from an Etsy shop, and I will link that below. I wanted to make the table symmetrical, so basically everything is the same on one side and the other, but the desserts on the end are different. On the left end of the table, I had churros, and on the right end, I had sopapillas. Next to those desserts, I have 2 tall cactus plants that I purchased from Target, and then in front of those, I have 3 different sets of artificial flowers that I picked up from the dollar store, and those flowers are sitting in tomato paste cans with a very authentic Mexican inspired label, and I thought that that was a really nice touch. I think I got that idea from Pinterest, and I just picked those cans up at Target as well. And then beside the flowers, I have pedestals of cupcakes, and those were purchased from Target in the dollar section. Then rounding out the middle, I have the cake on a basket, also purchased from Target, and in the very front, I have cookies sitting on a see-through tray from the dollar store. The sombrero suckers that you may have seen in a previous vlog, I will link below where I got those from because I don't want to mispronounce the name. And then I also have rock candy from Party City. I really recommend doing this style of decor when throwing a party or a shower, and it doesn't have to be a fiesta, but really just putting a lot of effort into a main table. We ended up moving the table at the end of the party and using the crepe paper as a backdrop, so it kind of doubled and it was perfect. So now we're moving on to the kids' table, and it honestly didn't dawn on me until just before the party, maybe a few days, that I didn't have a designated place for children to sit and eat. And I think it was just because I knew Bash was little and he was gonna sit in his high chair that, you know, all of these kids are older than him. They're gonna need a table to sit at. So we did end up having a table come with this house, which ended up working perfectly, and my husband brought in folding chairs for us. The kids' table has that same runner that's on the main table. On top of the table, you will see green paper plates and yellow cups just to be festive, and then I also gave them green and white paper straws. The table also had 2 cactus plants from Michael's on them, and I think I forgot to mention the little cactuses on the main table were also from Michael's. I kept the kids' table simple. I topped it off with balloons on each end of the table, and that was it. I knew that I didn't want it to be too much decoration for them because they were going to be eating, and I didn't want things to get too messy or be in the way for them, and it ended up working out perfectly. Next, we have the drink station, and the house had a perfect little bar area, so this worked out great for us. I didn't have to take up counter space in the kitchen. And here we have some clear tumblers that I purchased from Party City, and I also put the same green and white paper straws that I had on the kids' table in everyone's cup. And then beside that, we had the drink section. I had an iced tea, agua fresca, and I will put the agua fresca recipe down below. And then next to that, we had cucumber, strawberry, and mint water, and then bottled water in the back if anyone wanted it. I handmade all the signs, and it looks like one got a little wet, but it's okay. They ended up turning out great, and they were very festive. Bash even had a little sip of the agua fresca, and he loved it. And no, it did not have any alcohol in it. Now let's talk about the food, because this was a very big ticket item for us, and I did not want to cut corners when it came to food. I wanted to make sure that our guests were full when they left and that everyone was able to get first, second, and thirds. And I'm so glad that we ended up catering it instead of us trying to put it together. It just saved us a lot of time, and it was so worth it. We got it from La Paria, which is a Mexican restaurant here in Georgia. I don't know if they have them everywhere. I just know we have them all over here, and it is fantastic. Not only did they bring in the food, which I will get to in a second, but they also brought in all the cutlery as well as plates and napkins, which took that off the table for us to purchase. So like I said, we had a ton of food, which included refried beans, Fiesta rice, hard and soft shell tacos. We did have a beef and a chicken option, tons of chips, and then we did have all of the sides options: sour cream, guacamole, pico de gallo, tons of cheese, a whole tin of queso, and pretty much anything you can think of that you would want to build a taco. We had it, and it was perfect. Tons and tons of food. We are still eating it days later. It was so good. Another thing that was really important to me was that people had fun at this party, and I knew that the adults would be fine having conversations with each other, so I wanted to really focus on having fun activities for the kids to do while they were there, because it is so easy for children to get bored if they don't have stimulation. So the first thing that I did, and I got this idea from my best friend Caitlin, was to have a coloring station. So what we did was just set up butcher paper on the floor with a bunch of crayons and coloring pages, and the color sheets are actually just from the dollar store, and they loved that. They were able to sit down, color, and draw. Then the next thing I had for them was a pin the tail on the donkey, and it was a 3D version that I picked up at Party City, and we didn't end up playing this one until the very end with one of the little girls that was there, but she loved it. If you follow me on Instagram, then you probably saw that we did end up getting this, and I know that you can rent them, but we decided to buy one, and it is a bounce house. My mom purchased it for a part of his birthday gift, and it ended up being a hit. And yes, I know Bash cannot stand up unassisted, nor can he jump, but this will be a gift that we continue to use throughout the years, and I am ecstatic about it. I even got in there with Bash. We had such a great time with the bounce house, and then the next day, if you guys watched his birthday video, I put it up in our playroom inside so that my friends' daughters could jump in it, and it was awesome. And lastly, you cannot have a fiesta and not have a piñata, and so all the kids had a chance hitting the piñata. They loved it. And then finally, my nephew, who was a lot older, smacked it down for them to get all of the treats out, and then we ended up just shaking the rest of them out. And this is where the party favor bags from the bar cart come into play. We ended up using those, like I said, as party favors. We just decided to stuff the piñata with little toys and trinkets from the dollar store, as well as tons of candy, and that is what they ended up going home with. Also, we put extra coloring sheets rolled up, wrapped in twine, in their gift bags as well. Then toward the end of the party, we all sang happy birthday to Sebastian, and it was so funny because I thought he was going to love all the singing, and he ended up crying. I think it overwhelmed him having so many people singing very loudly in his direction, but it was cute. and he loved his cake. It was a funfetti 2-layer cake, like I said, that I made myself. And there are ways that you can perfect boxed cake mix, and you can find those on Pinterest, but I will try to put that below for you guys. I decided to make his cake because I just wanted to save money. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on cake that I knew he was going to stick his hands in and that we would end up throwing away. And I knew that if I purchased 2 sheet cakes for the party, we were going to end up going home with huge cakes, and I didn't want that in our house. So all the adults got cupcakes, and Bash had his smash cake, and it worked out perfectly. He loved it. We could not get him off of the cake, and I ended up having to take it away from him because he would have probably made himself sick if we let him go. You may have noticed the banner on the front of his high chair, and it fell down, but I ended up making that myself. I just wanted to save where I could. I believe that we picked up the red fringe from the dollar store, and I just made it with poster board, also from the dollar store, and construction paper that I already had at home. After all of that cake, I ended up just throwing him in the kitchen sink right there in front of everyone while they were talking and having their own good time, and rinsing him off, just getting all the icing off. And then my mom and my mother-in-law took him to the back and got him dressed again. His outfit that we had for this birthday party is from Target, if anyone's wondering. And the last big surprise of the party, which I didn't even know was coming, it kind of reminded me of a Sweet 16 when all the festivities are over, they tell you to go outside. Well, I turned around and here was my baby coming in his bright red shiny Mercedes convertible. It even had the red bow on the front, and it was so cute. Everyone just started clapping and smiling and yelling, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I had no idea that they were getting this for him. It was so sweet. My mother-in-law purchased it. I didn't even know that it was a real kid's car until much later on in the day, but that made me so happy because he will have that now to play with once he gets a little bit bigger, and it was just the perfect ending to a great party. So that is it, you guys. That is Sebastian's first fiesta. It was a beautiful day. We had such a great time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you see anything in this video that you like, I hope that you can use it too if you are having a fiesta themed party, and make sure you check below for anything that you may be looking for. And if I didn't list something below, you can always ask me in the comments or message me on my Instagram, and I will be glad to give you guys an answer. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell, and I will see you in my next video. Adios!